Hi there, I'm DC Morby, founder of the V16 Leadership Platform. Years ago, I was vice president and corporate controller at Rockford Fosgate. Back then, computers were very different from what they are today. There were no laptops, no cloud computing, and no personal computers on every desk. Instead, companies used what were called mainframes, one large computer in a climate-controlled room. Everyone else worked from dumb terminals, which had no computing power of their own. They simply connected to the mainframe. Our company was growing quickly, and I was given the responsibility of selecting and implementing a new computer system. We researched the options, selected the software, built a computer room, installed the mainframe, and connected every terminal throughout the company. It took weeks just to get the hardware in place. When everything was finally installed, I walked back to my office to catch my breath. A few minutes later, the company president walked in and said, "Doug, print me an income statement." A perfectly reasonable request, except for one small problem. There was no data in the computer. A new mainframe arrives completely empty. No history, no customer information, no accounting records, no reports, no programs, nothing. He hadn't even considered that. So one assistant and I spent the next 3 months transferring everything into the new system. We pulled information from the old computer, filing cabinets, paper records, and accounting files. We built an entire year of historical data. We entered all the master files. Then I wrote nearly 100 custom reports, so every department, accounting, engineering, marketing, and management, could get the information they needed. Finally, we were ready to go live. The first person I trained was our assistant controller. After several days of training, he looked at me and asked a sincere question. "You taught me all of this in just a few days. How come it took you 6 months to put it together?" I smiled and told him, "I was the only one with the machete, and I had to take that machete and cut a path through the jungle for everyone. All you had to do was get on the path and follow me." When I look back on that experience, I realized it wasn't really about computers. It was about leadership. The moment you decide to lead, you also accept a responsibility that most people never see. Someone has to be willing to step into unfamiliar territory, solve problems no one else knows exist, make difficult decisions, and keep moving forward when there isn't yet a trail to follow. That's what leaders do. They pick up the machete. The people who come behind them usually don't see the weeks, months, or even years spent clearing the path. They simply walk where someone else has already gone. From their perspective, the journey seems obvious. They don't see the dead ends, the setbacks, the uncertainty, or the countless obstacles that had to be removed before the path became visible. And that's okay. Leadership isn't about receiving recognition for every swing of the machete. It's about understanding that if you don't clear the path, no one else can follow. Every organization, every business, every family, and every meaningful movement eventually reaches a point where someone has to go first. Someone has to accept the uncertainty. Someone has to absorb the frustration. Someone has to keep cutting long after everyone else would have turned around. That's the price of leadership. The good news is that it also becomes one of its greatest rewards. One day, you'll look behind you and realize that people are accomplishing things they never could have accomplished before. Not because the jungle disappeared, but because you helped create a way through it. If you've chosen to become a leader, don't be discouraged when you feel like you're carrying the heaviest load. That's not a sign you're doing something wrong. It's a sign you're holding the machete, and that's exactly where every great leader begins.